Dude, so we watched 2 episodes.
Yes.
The Rush Limbaugh episode
Yes.
and the Donald Trump episode, which are probably about 10 years to 12 years apart at this point.
Yeah,
Trump was
a
couple years ago.
Season 9 and season 17. Both, interestingly enough, I think after Seth MacFarlane had left the writing of the show. I think he was able to get Rush on because they have, like, they're weirdly friends, or they were weirdly friends, so Seth was able to convince him. But I think by that point, Seth was no longer part of the writer's room, even then.
I had read Seth reached out to a lot of Republican politicians because everyone on the show was liberal, and they wanted to put a Republican episode in there.
Right.
Because that's what we did when Obama was president.
Yes.
We would do something like that. And Rush Limbaugh was the only one that was game. I imagine they tried to get John McCain, but they just ended up using
a different
just a voice for him.
Yeah.
But dude, I remember the Rush Limbaugh episode much better than it was. I was very disappointed. I think the song is the highlight, Republican Town. It's a good song, and it's like has what Family Guy could do politically that is interesting, where it's like doing stuff, but then it also, like, the visuals will have, like, some sort of critique in it, but the song, like, there's, like, a double on top. I don't know if that's double on top, but it's, like, double meaning where it's, like, and I was like, okay, this is, like, what this whole episode's about, but the episode itself and the way that they attack the politics of it, my feeling at first, like, in the first opening scenes of them, like, sitting in the living room talking, first of all, it comes right off the back of what people consider the best episode of all time, which is, and then there were fewer.
Yes. Yeah,
because at the beginning of this episode, Tom Tucker, there's a new news anchor, because in the previous episode, the old news anchor was revealed to be the murderer, and then they referenced that. And what's also weird is this Trump episode is built right off of the previous episode of that one, because it ends with Peter getting a job in the White House. And they don't do that much, so that is weird. No.
Yeah. It's, they were both, like, they were both Family Guy's rare attempts at serialization, and they were on the back of that.
I wonder if it was a 2-episode season premiere thing. Maybe they played the first 2 back to back. You know how
that
shows
might have
will
been
do
what
that
it was.
sometimes?
Yeah, because it was season 9. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think what's interesting to me about this show is that the fundamental point of it. So you can argue, I always feel weird talking about the specific politics of Family Guy, because as much as I do think it's valid and that there is stuff to discuss, even the show itself thinks that it's stupid, as we'll see in, like, the Trump episode. But, like, there's always the argument that I can hear from someone being like, it's Family Guy, don't take it seriously. And that is kind of a valid argument. But I will say, if there is a point to the Rush Limbaugh episode, their point is that Brian, and by extension liberals, or his type of liberals, are not well informed, and that Rush Limbaugh is not that mean. He's like a nice guy if you actually get to know him. They don't actually know anything about Rush Limbaugh. Which is very funny because, like, that's almost in a way telling on yourself, because if you actually read about Rush Limbaugh and knew what he stood for and the terrible things he said and done, you would be like, oh no, let's not have him anywhere near this. As is the case, there was a producer on Family Guy who had her name removed from the episode because she was like, I cannot be associated with this.
Right, and
she knew who he was. Yeah.
She didn't reveal that till he had died. She revealed that on Instagram in, like, 21, 22.
Yeah.
But, dude, I mean, the thing that I noticed that I think, I get what you're saying. I think what's interesting about this, it's not even... Because the politics, it's guys in L.A., dude. They're going to have a progressive... They probably loved Obama and grew up under Clinton and felt this, like, hope, and then the despair of Bush, and then the hope of Obama, and then Trump was so devastating, whatever. But the way that, in order for them to concede a middle ground to right-wing politicians or right-wing figures like Rush Limbaugh, they have to make Brian dumber often. They have to make liberals look dumb. And often they do well with making Brian look like a liberal. There's the new meme, like, on Twitter a lot where it's like Hassan Piker is just Brian. Like, he just like wears it. And that's like a thing. And I don't necessarily feel that. I feel like Hassan is better, like principles than a dog from a cartoon.
Yeah,
but
instead of fake dog. Yeah.
But I do think like there is like self-poking there that you can do.
Yeah.
But the thing that the show does in the Rush Limbaugh episode that I find like distasteful in my opinion is they make it that like everyone is dumber so that they can make Rush Limbaugh look smarter.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's like it's just odd to me a little bit.
Right. Well, what's funny too is it's like you make Brian dumber, and by extension, the political beliefs of like the side that he represents dumber. But then, and so then it like plays in contrast because it's like, oh, both of these people are being dumb. But then like what Rush is saying is actually what the guy said. You know.
Yes.
So it's like one side you're saying, oh, look how broad we're characterizing them as, and they're the same as this other thing. But it's like you're lying about what one guy is to make it seem like the same thing as the truth of what the other guy is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, there's like here's like a moment. Like in the beginning of the episode, they're in the living room, and Brian is like, oh, Rush Limbaugh, that guy's he's a fascist, like he can't come up with an insult, but it's like, okay, so he's dumb because he's can't, like, oh, so Rush Limbaugh isn't these things? He is, though. Like, you made Brian incompetent, but that doesn't change the reality of who Rush Limbaugh was as a person and the type of things he stood for.
It's the constant concessions that, like, you know, I mean, and we don't need to get into specific politics because I feel like you and I agree, and like the point of this is talking about the show. But like, it's the way like at least in this country, it seems like the left always has to make concessions to the right, whereas when the right is in power, they just do whatever they want. And you see that reflected in the culture too, of like, oh well, you know. Well, let's extend a hand and let's be brothers and whatever. And then like a Republican president, they're like, let's kill all brown children, you know? Like, we're not going to try to be friends with you.
Yes. Like the idea of, this has been talked about a lot, and there's articles about it. I don't know where the article is, but it was a famous article about how the West Wing poisoned liberals in the early 2000s. Because they had this belief that if we could sit down in a room, Obama and Mitch McConnell in 2010 could come to a consensus, and that's where the country should go. And that, like, we're not so different after all. We are different. We have completely different ideas of how the country should be run. Yeah. And this idea that there's a middle ground, there is not. It's not. You have to win. Like, enough with this shit. And that's why we are.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing too, is it's like we're all acting a little bit like there's, you know, like so many upper level Republicans were just mad that a black guy won. That they were like, we can only do one term. We can't give him anything. Like, it was so foundationally just racism. And yet, everyone else was like, well, a black guy was the president, so we're post-racial. Everything's happy. We could be concessions on TV when, like, politically, we're sowing the seeds for season 17, episode 11 of Family Guy, Trump guy. You know? Like, that's exactly what was happening the whole time. But what was interesting about this show is, like, so Brian is clear. I feel like that's a third time I've said what was interesting. I'm going to find a new phrase. But Brian is, I think, very clearly the surrogate for Seth MacFarlane, right? As the character. Like, he's the hard drinker, the one with openly, like, left-wing politics or liberal politics, whatever. And so when they're critical about him, it's in a way Seth being self-critical about himself, you know? And so the resolution of the episode is not that Brian is actually conservative or a liberal, it's that he's a contrarian and he wants to be the underdog and he wants to be the guy against, which you can very clearly see in the DNA of Family Guy as a show. Is they're the edgy contrarian, you know? Is we want to be the like cool, like, fuck you, we're like the kid in the back of the class making fun of the principal or whatever. And so this was almost, I guess, in a way, them coming to terms with that, but it doesn't go that far. But it was strange to see the show sort of grapple with that, is that what their DNA is that. But I think also maybe they believe they're beyond that. Or maybe it's just as the years have gone by, they've become more and more insecure. Because that's another thing is, I think modern day Family Guy is very, very insecure, as we see in Trump Guy a lot. Whereas I think there is a modicum of additional self-awareness that existed in the earlier seasons.
And I think that is a good episode. That's a good idea for an episode, that Brian has no convictions. But Brian can be so better, and we've seen it. he could be so better criticized by someone that knows him, like Quack. Like, these are real people. Why the fuck am I talking about this? But like Quagmire,
like my good friend Quagmire.
Yeah, but like when Quagmire dresses him down in the restaurant about how you have these liberal politics, you're an atheist, but you do nothing for anyone and you're just a contrarian, is such a better model of what they're trying to say in this episode. And this episode is stupid. It's dog shit. And like they let everything else fall away. Peter's dumb in the episode. Stewie's weird. They make Stewie really odd in this episode.
He doesn't
like
really have a character.
Dick and like,
he's just into like erotica, like just which is, I mean, fine, but it's not like a plot line.
It's like an E-plot. It's not even part of the show. They just keep coming back to Stewie, and he just is like, I found a picture of a naked old man, and they're like, what? Why is he here? Like,
what's happening?
This isn't Stewie. This isn't what he does. Yeah. But I mean, it just falls apart. I mean, the episode, it's like, they take like a 3-minute cutaway for Rush Limbaugh and John McCain to be like the Hardy
Scooby-Doo.
Boys. Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
It's definitely Scooby-Doo, but it's like just two of them. I was like, what is this? What does this mean?
It's such a strange... and then... Oh, no, this is the next episode. But yeah, like Barney Frank, who just died like 3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. Which is funny.
With his disgusting protruding nipples.
Right. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's also like,
do you know what
are you trying to say? What Barney Frank?
His disgusting protruding nipples. Donald Trump. He was on Congress floor with a blazer and a blue sweater, and he had these big tits, and his nipples were sticking out.
Oh, and Trump tweeted,
Trump tweeted Barney Frank on Congress floor with his disgusting protruding nipples.
Well, and you know what? Okay, this actually gets me into what I wanted to talk about. No. This is totally good. Okay. Here's the thing. What these two episodes are good for is viewing. They're sandwiching the Republican, the last and the current Republican president we had. Right? It was Bush, and then we had Obama, and then we have Trump. And there's a lot has been said about how annoying comedy has gotten in the Trump era, right? But what these two episodes are cool about is that you can see the way the same writing staff, more or less, attacked the two Republican presidents and compare and contrast them, basically. And I think the difference between Trump and Bush, obviously there's a lot of differences, and obviously the main one is that Bush just never had the cult of personality that Trump did. But Trump is legitimately funny. Like, he's intentionally funny. He kills at these, like on his rallies. He's like a comedian. He's good at it. And yes, is he stupid, and does he do a lot of unintentionally funny things? Yeah, but also, like, Bush was never intentionally funny in the ways that Trump were. And that's why I think it's easier to call Bush dumb, because it's like, yeah, he's trying to be a politician and he's dumb. That sucks. Let's mock that. Trump, I don't even think he's not presenting as a politician. He's presenting as like an unhinged, like Andrew Dice Clay character.
Yeah.
And so then when you're like, he's stupid, it's like, yeah, of course he's stupid. But he's like this guy, it just doesn't stick to him because that's not who he is. And so then we get to this episode where they're what? Oh, like his hands are small, or he wears whatever.
Tanner.
It's tanning. Yeah, it's like, who gives a shit? I don't care, man. This is what you're saying? Like, it's like just
the episode is built around okay, so Meg is sexually assaulted by the president of the United States. Straight up,
raped. Yeah.
You're doing that, by the way. Yeah. You're gonna do that in the show. Okay, that's bold. It's a little odd for Fox primetime, but okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's this moment where they're fighting, and then they do
the chicken fight, basically. Yeah.
There's like a soft moment where he tries to save Peter. Yeah. He raped your daughter. What is this? Yeah. Why are you making Peter do this? This is embarrassing and weird.
It makes zero sense in any capacity. And the other thing that was annoying to me was they keep doing this thing that they love to do, where they'll inject. Every joke attempt is like a reference to a Trump scandal or like a controversy. So they'll have Melania or whatever, talk about all a bunch of scandals about Jared Kushner on the phone or something, and then they keep doing that. And they keep referencing stuff, but they do it in a way I think even at one point the narrator says that was all true. Look it up, and they're doing this in a thing where it's like, yeah, we know, man. Who do you think is watching this? And they make the joke of we didn't change anyone's minds. And yes, of course, but it's the same thing that they did, I think, better in the Rush Limbaugh episode where they said you have to be the smartest guy in the room. They're dressing down Brian in that way. And, like, yeah, this is who you are, Family Guy writers. You're trying to be the smartest guy in the room, but you're so far behind us. We know all of this already. We've made these jokes. We're tired of making these jokes. This episode came out in 2019. That's the end of his first term. All of this has been said before. We knew about all of it. You're like, now the end of it is then being like, oh no, I hope everything's okay. It's like, his first term's almost over. What are you talking about? How are you so far behind all of us, you know?
And then a weird break at the end to tell you to look at the Steele dossier.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? First of all, the Steele dossier, they think it's misinformation, mostly. That's kind of the word on it. I mean, now I don't fucking know, because the guy was on, like, Epstein Island every other weekend.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's not the day. You're not doing anything, and you should know that you can't. So just do something that's creative and fun.
And that's the funny thing is, it's like, you realize, it's what we talked about last week about, like, how the trivia guys aren't actually smart. And you see that when they're trying to do the same type of humor that they do when it's referencing a movie from the 80s, but with actual modern day contemporary political events, that you need to have some kind of modicum of awareness about the world and understanding of how it works to be able to express and articulate. And it just lays bare that they just don't have that. And they're just doing this, and you're like, guys, you're delivering this with the tone of, I know more than you, but every single person watching this is so far ahead of all of you. And that's sad. That's it. And then you're like, and they do this in both. They have, like, the Bob's Burgers burn, because have you watched those compilations online of, like, Family Guy being insecure Bob Burgers? They really, and they admit it, it's like, because people like them and not us, but it's like, I don't know how you could possibly assume you're deserving of an Emmy. But they also do it in the Rush Limbaugh episode where they shit talk The Office. Did you catch that?
Yep. And it's not funny. It's not like,
and you're like, okay, man, like,
silly words are funny, and a baby likes it. It's like, dude, like, people like The Office, dude. It's I don't know. I don't fucking know, dude. It was just, it's so, I'm thinking about...
Yeah, like, silly words are funny, and I guess 3-minute long sequences where nothing happens are also funny. Like, though that's better. Like, I don't know, man.
It's like, I'm glad that, like, South Park went after them a little bit, because it's like, nobody really takes shots at you, because nobody cares, guys. Like,
that's, I think, what really gets to them, is it's like... Because that was the funny thing. The Trump episode, part of it is them kind of being defensive about them creating Trump. Because, like, there's a part where he's like, oh, you're like me, Peter. You're mean. And middle schoolers, like, learned gay and Jew and black jokes from you. And they're like, well, we're a cartoon, you can turn us off or whatever. And, like, I'm not of that mindset of, like, Family Guy invented Trump. Like, I think that's stupid to blame them. But also, it's like, you blame South Park more for that like, mindset, or blame, like, I don't know,
Cumtown.
Cumtown. Like, it's like, that's really the thing that I think they aren't grappling with, is like, actually, you guys aren't even part of the negative side of the conversation. You're not in this at all anymore, guys. You're not impacting anyone ever.
I know. And I mean, I think about when I see, like, this Trump depiction, which I think is just like, it's like, I don't want to even say this really, but it's like, draw him right. Like, this is like, it doesn't even really look like him. And it's like, he's not like, it's not like the thing where President Xi of China, like, doesn't want to be called Winnie the Pooh or compared to Winnie the Pooh, and you can't do it, so you're doing it. It's like, Trump, you could, cartoonists that love Trump draw him disgustingly. That's not like, that's what he looks like.
Exactly.
He's a weird looking man. And I think, when the best Trump thing I've seen at all recently is SNL. The way that they make him Bugs Bunny that wanders into the opening sketch and pauses time and goes, look at this guy, isn't he gay? And it's like, or whatever he says. But it's like, because they're embracing that he's actually funny. And then also, like, the gross incompetence of it and, like, the strangeness of it. And, like, I know this is lost on people that are our age, because, like, the Bush thing where Bush is, like, getting a piece of candy from Rush Limbaugh.
He's just a dumb child, basically.
It's like Bush was like, oh, he's not presidential or something, and he's like the town drunk. And then, like, Trump is like everyone uncle in a way, in my experience. Like I have like a lot of people in my life that are like him, where they go on these strange long tangents and they have these weird hang-ups, whether it be like a ballroom. Like that's just when Trump rambles about his ballroom, I'm like, I have two uncles who've been talking about how their deck was built improperly for 25 years. Like, this is just, and it's more, I don't even know what the point I'm going for, but it's like when you criticize Bush, it was in a time where you could skewer him by calling him dumb and that was enough. But now it's like, Trump is like, it's 2 terms. He won, lost, and then won again. And he's the first Republican in a long time to win the popular vote, too, in the second term. So you're not going to say anything to a Republican voter or a Republican person that watches Family Guy. Like, you don't need to have Rush Limbaugh on. That's like a lost idea that you need to appeal to these people. Right. But then if you're going to try to skewer them, like you said, you're not even part of the negative side of this. And it's like, why do you need to be? Like, what's the purpose of this? I don't understand why they needed to do a Trump episode at all. It would have been more interesting to do about a lower politician, like do a Ted Cruz episode. Like maybe you could say something, you know?
Yeah, I really just think it's that they have no ideas. And that's not even a criticism. You've been on the air for 25 years. You're going to run out of ideas. So yeah, write about what the world is, you know? But like, don't come at it from the standpoint that you have something to say. You never had something to say about, like, they don't even really have something to say about, like, pop culture that's come out within the past 10 years. Because in the Trump episode, they do a Sleepy Hollow reference where they show a clip from the thing. And I don't know, I never watched Sleepy Hollow. I don't remember whether this was, like, a meme going around where there's, like, captions that went wrong or something. I have no idea what this is reference is. But sometimes they do that with shit that came out 20 years ago, so who knows? But the bit is that, like, the caption guy doesn't like one of the characters on Sleepy Hollow, and it's just they're making fun of him in the captions, and they have the scene go on of a different real TV show for like 3 or 4 minutes, and you're like, this is so immediately lost to time. But this is what you're like. It's not even that doesn't even have like a depth of knowledge to it, you know? If you're referencing an obscure thing from the 70s, it's still dumb, but at least I'm like, oh, you know that. This is like, you just turned on your TV and they were talking about Trump, and then they showed a teaser for Sleepy Hollow, and you're like, those are 6 pages of the episode, you know? Yeah. Like, it kind of is like, this is how empty the whole formula for writing this show is.
And even when they do stuff, like in the Rush Limbaugh episode, when they do stuff that they can be good at, I don't even know if that's good at, like a non sequitur. Like when Rush Limbaugh comes over to the Griffin's house for dinner, and Lois is like, "You made our dog crazy," and then she farts in the middle of talking.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, well, that could work in any other episode where you don't have Rush Limbaugh in the studio doing voiceovers. Because whether you like it or not, getting him in the studio, using his real voice, and definitely that was part of the promotion of the episode in some way, they are legitimizing him from being a fringe figure that's outside of major media because he has his own network and whatnot, and they're making him, it's like a collab thing on Instagram. It's like by putting, you know, I can't think of a celeb, like Kim Kardashian and oatmeal. Now the oatmeal is realer and Kim Kardashian has the legitimacy. You have made him palatable. And what you do when you put like Trump on, I didn't think the Trump voice was very good. It was just, and then the weird,
it's like the same guy who did the Trudeau and Trump are the same, and it's Josh Robert Thompson who did Jeff Peterson on The Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
Oh right, yeah. I read that on Wikipedia.
Yeah,
but like what?
But then he works with Family a lot. Yeah.
The Trudeau thing is like, is Canada going to save us? Is that the
understand,
idea?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to be a reference to or anything. It's like, again, it's such a surface level understanding of politics. It's like Trump is bad because of these things, right? Not because of the playing on the undercurrent of all of it. You know, he's bad because of this. And Trudeau is cool, right? Because he's cool, right?
Pretty cool guy.
Yeah, it's like you just don't know anything. You have no awareness of what the world is at all, guys.
It's a comedy thing where I've been trying to learn this a lot more because I've been having I was having a hard time at the end of last year trying to figure out writing things that I am interested in, but being afraid that nobody else gives a fuck about them.
Yeah.
And the advice that plays in my head is you just write to the top of your intelligence. It's an improv principle that's in like the UCB textbook.
Yeah.
It's like they are trying to make something that they think a Republican would like in the Rush Limbaugh episode, and not even the Trump one, because that's like a different thing almost. But it's like, instead of doing something in the Trump episode that's playing to the top of their intelligence, they're trying to imagine what the baseline person would know. And it's like, we are all in and watching the news all the time when it's on your phone, or you're older and it's on the TV, or it's everywhere. Every conversation is about the news. It's like, people have a general awareness that you can make comedy references upon. And I'm sorry it's not a John Goodman failed movie from the 1980s, but you could have done something. This is your bread and butter. You could have done something that's based in something, but when it got down to it, they were too afraid, and they're too sweaty to do a real Trump criticism. And like, I don't think South Park's Trump criticism was very good either, where they made the teacher Trump or whatever the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
They've kind of gone a little weird too. But I just find it to be this, there is a cultural understanding. People are very aware now. You don't have to pretend like you're talking to the guys from Duck Dynasty to appeal to them, because they're like hicks in the woods. We are all, that's a big problem we have in this country. I feel like everyone's a lot smarter, a lot more aware, a lot more culturally aware. And what do? We just watch shit because we have this awareness, but we all work miserable jobs that aren't fulfilling. And it's like, Family Guy can be, in a way, and not to be like, emotional about Family Guy, but it can be a way to be like, no, like, this is our culture. We share in reference to our media and the things that we share in the past. And when they do a Trump episode that ends with the Steele dossier and then just going, and that really happened, we know. The Trump voters know. They voted for him 3 times. They don't care. You're not going to... Graham Plattner just won his primary, and they were trying to make some like equivalency that like he had sexting and abuse. It's like, Trump may be a pedophile. What are we talking about?
He has been found guilty of rape, like actual rape. It's also the biggest like mark on this episode is the fact that, and like, look, definitely the administration's crackdown on the media has been a lot harsher this second go around than the first, and like there's a whole thing. But like that movie The Apprentice, the biopic about Trump, where like the whole thing was like, it shows him raping his wife, and they tried to get blocked, that it almost was banned in the country. He wasn't even the president at the time. It was like the election year. This one, he like multiple times gropes and rapes as Trump. It's not like a thinly veiled metaphor. I don't remember there being any controversy.
Nobody cares.
It aired on television. Nobody gave a fuck about Family Guy. They could just do that, No one.
They could have done
anything.
Yeah, dude. I liked that movie. I thought The Apprentice was a pretty good movie.
I liked it too.
I thought it was cool. Like I thought it, and that's that. I forget that guy's name, but that's probably the best Trump I've ever seen.
Sebastian Stan.
Oh, yeah. That was very well done. The way he does little things with the lip. I'm like, dude, this guy's an actor. That's awesome that he did that. But I don't know, man. It's really like Gleason did the Comey movie on HBO. Did you ever watch that?
Oh, yeah.
What's his name? Something Gleason?
Brendan Gleason?
Brendan Gleason. And it was like, you just kind of are fat and old, so you just kind of could put the wig on and figure it out. But... yeah, I don't know, man. And I can't think of, like, there's just, I mean, this is something that, again, like, I'm criticizing Family Guy, but I might be repeating something a bunch of people have already known. But it's like, you can't make fun of a guy that is kind of a joke already. It's a joke with power. It's like, yeah, dude, do you know the horrifying reality of having, like, the goofy president who, like, buys McDonald's for NFL teams is now, like, leading a invasive war in the Middle East? Like, that's really dark and strange, and like, I don't need my Family Guy to be like battling with that, but if they want to, they need to be coming up to the plate a lot better. And now this episode, both episodes were failures.
I think it's like the problem is you're making fun of him on the same rules as you would other politicians, which is why it worked with Bush. I mean, you could argue work, but like, whatever, in the same lineage of people making fun of Bush during that era. Bush was trying to be a politician. I mean, I said this already, but it's like, that's not the vibe Trump is giving off. So if you're criticizing him on the rules that, like, you would a guy who's trying his best, then it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's like the way that like in school, if you threaten a class with like that's like two kids that are misbehaving, one's like not particularly bright, but he's like trying and cares, and you're like, I'm gonna give you a timeout. And then that like is an active like consequence or punishment. He's not gonna, and it like hurts. But the fucking piece of shit who's like throwing rocks at everyone, who doesn't give a fuck about anything, if you're like, I'll give you a timeout, he's like, fucking do it. It doesn't matter to him, you know?
Yeah.
And so in the same way, you can't do the same things. Make fun of his small hands. Who gives a shit? That's not why any of us are scared.
Yeah.
And especially why, like, it's also such an indictment that you're doing this, like, at the end of his first term. Because, like, granted, I get it. The production periods of this, I'm sure they were making this, like, years earlier, however long it takes. But the idea of, like, the episode ends and them, like, oh, yeah, we're scared. And it's like, you are a group of white millionaires, and you're only realizing that you're scared in 2019? That's crazy, you know? Like, that's such a bad look for you, that, like, you're only now realizing why people were upset about this.
And, dude, it's like, maybe this is murky waters for me to navigate into, but it's like when I look at the Rush Limbaugh episode, I think about Rush Limbaugh, and I think about the Tea Party, and I think about the right-wing response to the bailout of Wall Street, where they bailed out bankers after they completely destroyed our economy, and nobody went to jail. That is a legitimate emotional reaction from people that had led a direct line into Donald Trump. And like seeing that moment of trying to appease that, I actually can understand why they would want to do some sort of Republican appeasing episode. I think they failed by making it all about Rush Limbaugh. Like that, it's just weird. It doesn't actually get to the point of what it is. Like making something like the one that we talked about, like we talked about, like Business Guy, where Peter takes over a business or something. Like, make it about something that, like, if you're trying to talk about these issues, like, do something else. But getting bogged down by the celebrity of Rush Limbaugh is just bullshit. And you can just see, and obviously, I just don't see it. I see why you would do a Republican episode in season 9 or whatever. I don't see why you do it in season 17. I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea. And I think that it's like the Bob's Burgers thing and the idea of doing the episode. And dude, Bob's Burgers and The Simpsons both had higher ratings than when this episode came out. Their episode that week premiered higher with higher viewership than that. So you lost.
Right. Well, no, and that's another thing too, because I feel like when Family Guy, like, it's one thing when you're arguing from like the Trump thing. It's like, okay, well, boo-hoo, you lost, so shut up, you know? Or like people who love Marvel movies are bullshit. It's like, well, we're making money, so who gives a fuck if it's if you think it's bad? You're a snob. But like at this point in time, Family Guy is now not a critical darling, not like an awards baby, and also not commercially successful. So if even the normies aren't watching you, where does your argument lie, guys? It's like, you don't have anyone, you know? Like, there's no one defending you anymore. So for you to be like, Bob's Burgers, like, the art style is bad, which, like, I don't even understand. It's like, you think you guys are, like, fucking, I don't know, Picasso over? Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, the art style is bad? Who cares? But, like, you're like, you don't even have, like, an army to go against. Like, your fans don't even stack up. So where is this confidence? And I think that really poisons the episode is just the rank insecurity. They're insecure that people think that they created Trump, which is stupid, but nobody wants to be on that side of the argument. But like, they're insecure about that. They're insecure that they're not more successful. They're insecure that they're just like not good anymore. But like, in reality, guys, this is always what was going to happen to you. And this is where it ended up. But you know, you're on the air forever. So what are you going to really complain about?
It's like they need to like Tarantino it, and they should have decided that because instead of like making Meg not really Peter's daughter in later seasons, doing which weird is shit. Let's go. Get off the air. I could turn on an episode of Family Guy I've seen before, and there's 11 bits I've never thought of again because that's what you do good. So get off the air. Don't make a Stewie spinoff show. Enough. We're done. That's kind of it. I don't have much. I mean, that's...
No. Look, I mean, we keep going back to, like, it's a neoliberal show, but that is what it is. It's you couch your desire to just make money forever in false premises of, like, liberty and democracy and equality and freedom. But it's just, you know, you guys never really believed in anything. You just wanted to piss people off and make millions of dollars. And he did. So, there you go.
Congratulations.
But don't be insecure. Don't be insecure when people rightfully drop you, and you don't have the status and the culture that you once did.
If you thought we loved Family Guy last week, this episode, we really love Family Guy because we're yelling about it. We're getting mad because that's how much
we care. You only can talk about something like this with as much vigor as we are if you care. Yeah. You have to care. You have to want more.
And we're the audience that they're like, well, nobody likes us. We do, and we hated that. We love you, and we hate this. So
they have like such a weird contempt for their audience. It's very funny because they get it. They get that it's like they know who they appeal to, and they hate that about themselves. But what are they gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, get over it, guys. You are like the Big Mac. You're on the menu of a giant corporation. It is like, I mean, I've done this, but it's like when you criticize SNL. Well, guys, SNL is like a machine that like it's so much bigger than any of the individuals on it. It's like a promotional television show. Like you just are this thing. So you got to do your best. And if you want to do something weird, sometimes weird shit slips through. And you know what? That's what people like. They like something weird and different. And I haven't seen a recent episode of Family Guy that has had any sort of spark of anything.
Right. Well, but what's funny is the SNL comparison is interesting because, like, both machines, but, like, one has gotten into institution status, And obviously it's a much older show, as has The Simpsons. But, like, there's stuff after it. Like, South Park is not that much older than Family Guy. I'd argue it's an institution, but one that I feel like they would stop if they don't want to do anymore, But, I mean, they're it's their own case. But Bob's Burgers even, like, I could see becoming, like, a staple. Family Guy I think it thought that through sheer force of will, just continuing to exist, it would become a thing that people talk about forever and like is beloved, but like they just didn't. Step by step they just survived but didn't thrive. And so I think maybe that's just like a really heartbreaking revelation for them. And they keep trying. They keep throwing stuff. They're doing the Stewie spin-off. You don't do that if you don't want to keep the eyes on you.
Yeah, and it's like I think that if they paid more attention to what people are seeing, like Family Guy right now is random bits and cutaways that exist in the vertical medium. And I don't think that they need to start writing to that, but I think they need to recognize that what people like about you is the rapid fire bits, the cavalierness about we'll say whatever, we'll take whatever. It doesn't matter. It's about being funny as like a core thing while having the constraints of being a television show that's on TV for normal people. And like I think that is the vein that they can really like. When your episode and the last episode, which was the FCC episode, that's a criticism that we will listen to you make. But doing something that like you are less equipped than the news, and the news is failing to really criticize Trump. It's just like, do what you're good at. Go after FCC, awesome. That's a cool criticism. I thought that's a great episode, and I understand why it's like your top number one. I just think like get after it, guys. I don't know. But.
No, you're right. Well, and you know why it was a good episode? Because they clearly gave a shit. Like the FCC was like on their asses a ton, I'm sure. So they had a legitimate bone to pick. Yeah. They don't actually care about Trump.
No.
They don't, they don't give a fuck. They don't
it's
care
like
about anything.
Alec Baldwin on SNL. Like, this is nothing. It's not even a good impression. And what is this? This is just not even a criticism.
It doesn't mean anything. Stupid? Yeah.
Oh, Jim Carrey's going to play Joe Biden. Okay, dude, this is nothing. This is just thinking that we want to see famous people. Now you have like a virtual nobody playing Trump, and it's way better. It's way more interesting, way more funny. I for like 7 years have not been like, oh, I want to see what the cold open was on SNL. I watch it now. I'm getting older, so it's like oh, look at these.
Just having a thing to turn on,
Yeah, but I don't know. I love Family Guy so much. It's I just care, and I just think that they could have like if they said like next season we're gonna do it will be our final season. They could really like bring in some people that are both unconventional but also the classic people that are really good at it, and really put together just some real OG shit on your Family Guy final season, and they could go out well because then we could all go together and watch a final season. I think it's gonna peter out slowly and end when we won't even hear about it much in the news, and then the Stewie show's just going to be like a 2 or 3 season flop, and that'll be the end of it because they don't know that the institution is Seth. Seth is the institution.
Yeah.
And he's waiting around for a Tony or whatever the hell to sing and dance around as Frank Sinatra. But it's like, dude, just come on, man. I don't know. Didn't he host the Oscars one year? Like,
yeah.
he is it. He's the show. He is it. So, I mean, and the Orville was great. That's like the most recent thing he's done other than the TED Show. People love the TED Show. People love the TED Show. I love the Orville. They gave them like so much money to do a final season on Hulu.
Yeah.
Like what Seth does is good. So stop like just having him come in and put his hand up like the corpse of this old thing and do something interesting with it and get the fuck off the air. Dude, you have so many episodes. We can watch it for the rest of our lives. Like,
and we're going to tune in next week where should we do the pilot of Family Guy and then the most recent episode?
That's a brilliant idea. I like that. There we go. I like that. Okay. We'll do the pilot.
Same and shit.
Yeah. The entire series.
Yeah.
Both not great.
Yeah, I'm sure. I haven't seen the most recent episode, so
I haven't seen the most recent episode, but I've seen the pilot, and it's like,
it's
animated on cardboard? Like,
yeah.